All right, we are live. What the hell is going on, people? This is Dr. Feelgood here, and welcome to Gamers at Large number 86. I have my regular round of bastards, and I hope a few more pop in here. But go ahead and introduce yourselves, and we're going to freeball it.
Yeah, I was about to say something really disgusting. I was like, you know what? No one needs to hear that. Um, but who wants to introduce themselves first?
I'll go first. This is Piggy Don from Video Game Facts, a veteran of the BS Busters, Sci-Fi Power Hour-ish, and now the OGL podcast. I got plenty of topics to talk about for this week's podcast.
That's good. You're filling into you're stepping to the Triple M role. That's excellent.
Well, who wants to go next?
I'll do it. This is Jewel Eli Moonstar, and I'm hopefully thinking. Though, if anything, let's hope that this podcast doesn't get a sixth.
All right. There you go, Mr. Red Fox.
This is Mr. Red Fox here. I raced home. Well, I didn't race home because it's raining, and I didn't want to get into an accident, but I got home as expeditiously as possible, considering the traffic and the weather. And I only have one thing to say. I got home from watching Black Panther for the second time, and I only have this to say: commence Disney's ass kicking and taking everybody's money, and it began with Black Panther. And it's going to continue all throughout 2018.
Hey, look, my whole thing is, with the success of Black Panther, man, all I want Disney to do is reboot the X-Men.
Well, they're probably going to do that. I mean, I wish they had bought Fox like 2 years ago, because the Infinity War would have been perfect to have the X-Men in it, or even Civil War. Civil War would have been great. But
they were doing their own battles.
Okay, but I have a quick movie question. Red Fox, you may know this, you may not, but why is it that we all know that for the last almost decade, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been doing quite well? Started out with Iron Man, and it's gone from there.
Yeah.
My thing is, okay, so 20th Century Fox owns the rights to X-Men, or at least they did own it until recently. And then you had Sony that had the rights to Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
When you see the writing on the wall with all these successful Marvel movies, why not put, just cast out your BS to the side and be like, you know what? Although we own the rights to these other characters, I want to make some money. So let's just go ahead and add them in there. Let's just go ahead and get on the contract, even if it's on the sidebar where you don't make as much money. But even still, to me, success for one person, success for all. Like if I was ahead of 20th Century Fox, I would have been like, so Disney, what do you need?
Well, it boils down to power and control. See, here's the thing. Kevin Feige wanted to get Galactus and the Silver Surfer like years ago, and he was willing to give up quite a bit in order to get. He's like, you guys can permanently have the X-Men movie rights, and he was willing to give up quite a bit in order to get that. And the deal fell through, but Fox eventually gave up Daredevil, and Kevin Feige took Daredevil in. They farmed it out to Netflix, and we've got like two of the best Netflix superhero shows are Daredevil season 1 and 2. So basically, whoever made that deal at Fox, like they got the stink eye because they did nothing with the IP. So basically, it proves that they had a valuable IP, and they gave it up, and someone else did better with it. And I mean that messes up the power dynamic. So right now at Fox, like for the longest time, it was like they would rather slit their own throats than give up what could be a valuable IP. Now that Disney has bought the movie/TV part of Fox, I mean, here's hoping we can get a decent Fantastic Four movie. And they can reboot the X-Men. Although to be fair, like let's see, the original X-Men trilogy. Then there's the 3 Wolverine movies, the last of which is good. The other 2 are meh. And then
the new X-Men trilogy.
The new X-Men trilogy, which the first one was forgettable, the second one was good, the third one was garbage. I mean, it's like, here's the thing. Fox's movies are very hit or miss, but they'd rather have the control to be able to get all the money in from the pot, or most of it, except for whatever licensing deal they have with Marvel, than give more control to Marvel and then have to give up more of the pie.
I mean,
So,
but to me, that is just stupid. And I say that because, look, okay, for example, I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna try to stay on top with this, and I'm not gonna take it to games. I'm keeping it with movies. As I just said earlier, if I was Fox, like you said, first X Men, it was okay but forgettable. Second X Men was good. Third was garbage. Logan was very good. We saw Wolverine and his berserker moment for a moment, and it's like at the end of the day, what is the most successful line of superhero films out there right now? Who's making them? Oh, Marvel with Disney. So how about, since Disney has pocketbooks out the ass, how about we just say, you know what, Disney? We'll loan you these characters. We'll go ahead and work with you on this. And look, all we want is a piece of the pie. We don't matter how small. We just want to turn a small profit. We don't want to make $1 out of 15 cents, but can we at least make 30 cents out of 15 cents? Like, I would take that deal and put my pride to the side, because my thing is, just like we say in gaming, with Capcom and other companies, what good does a valuable IP do for you if you're not going to use it? And or when you do use it, you F it up. It does no one any good, and you end up losing money on it.
well, like I said, it's about like it's a spite move. It's like, well, you
So
just
saying,
ain't
so,
gonna get it.
so basically it's just a jealous cockfight, more or less.
Basically, yeah. Except here's the thing. Fox bet that they had. I mean, I'm just gonna break it down for you, and I'm not gonna get as raw as I want to, but this is basically a fight where Fox was like, well, we bet that our D is bigger than your D, Disney. And Disney was like, well, that not only is that not true, we've got multiple Ds. We got the Disney IP D. We've got the Muppet D. We've got the Star Wars D. We've got the Marvel D. We've got the ESPN D.
You got
like basically
feel every hole on your body.
like Disney not only has a big D, they've got multiple Ds. So if something happens to one D, they got a backup in the wings. And Fox is like,
So what you're basically saying is Disney's essentially a gang rave.
basically, yeah. It's like I was looking at the sheer amount of Disney films coming out this year in 2018. Okay, it starts, like I said that earlier when in the intro, but it's true. Black Panther starts it; it's kicking the door in, and then in a few months you're getting
Black Panther
Infinity
2,
War.
aka the Avengers.
You're getting Infinity War. Then you're getting Ant-Man. Then you're getting Star Wars solo movie, which I mean, I'm looking forward to it because I'm a Han Solo fan. But I mean, then they're doing The Incredibles 2, and then they're doing A Wrinkle in Time. I mean, Disney 2018 should be called the year Disney made everyone's wallet its bitch, because they got a movie for everybody. They got something for everybody, and I heard they're doing the Nutcracker Suite this year for Christmas.
That's not forget, they're also doing Mary Poppins Returns this year as well.
And see, you know what's so funny about that?
They're doing Mary Poppins this year.
God.
It's a sequel. It's actually a sequel.
Well, the funny thing about this is that I do agree with Red Fox. This is Disney's year, but like last year and the year before, Universal was tearing shit up. Universal and Illumination was killing it the last couple of years. They had multiple billion-dollar movies. I mean, I can honestly say I'm not saying Universal is up there like on the same level as Disney, but I can definitely say they're not knocking on the door. They're definitely doing skid marks in their lawn right now.
Well, I mean, that's the thing about Universal. Universal, if you look at the amount of money that they make with their movies, it's not. I mean, it's not in the same area as Disney. But Disney has so many studios working underneath it that you can't compete really. But the thing is like Universal really punches above its weight, because they had Jurassic World, and then they had Fast and the Furious, and then they had that Mission Impossible movie from a couple of years ago. Like Universal has some big movies that do really well, that they budget well, that they make a lot of money with, and people are like, "Well, shit, I can't. What am I supposed to do with that?" I just wish Universal would make a good Hulk movie. Those bastards. I'm still mad about that. I just want one good Hulk movie. One.
And this year is getting Fallen Kingdom as well as another adaptation of How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Well, it's not really an adaptation. It's kind of a spinoff, kind of, you know.
And then of course you got
and it's
2019.
animated, so.
You got 2019 coming up, and they got some hard hitters coming out then too, like Lion King remake. And I'm gonna tell you right now, when they do that, all the adults and kids are gonna flock to it because that was a very memorable movie back in the day. And if you think about the people that saw that were kids then, or at least like in high school and loved that film, they're gonna all go back and see it next year too.
All I gotta say is this: as long as they have James Earl Jones do the voice of Mufasa,
it's all good. That's what I said.
It's all good. As long as they have James Earl Jones do the voice of Mufasa, I can deal with everything else.
Yes.
The dude who did the voice of Rafiki died, which is sad, but you know, I can handle that. But just I mean, look, James Earl Jones is 80-something years old. You better record his lines now, okay?
But yeah,
because I mean, in Rogue One, he was sounding kind of old. I was like, damn, man, y'all better record his shit. Y'all better get all the voice-over recordings of James Earl Jones now.
What,
not actually, to put the bad mouth.
I read an article about this, and there was actually, I think, a little TV thing going on about it. But it was when did it happen? I forget what movie it was. That oh yeah, it was with Paul Walker. That basically, since he died before he like did not completely finish doing the series as planned.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think they said he recorded like 90% of his scenes for Fast 7, but of course, you know, they plan on having the Fast 8. But they said since then, like a lot of these film companies have been literally recording a lot of like some of the top artists. I mean, I'm sorry, top actors in their upcoming movies, recording their voice and stuff like that, so they can duplicate it in future films should something happen like that. Because for the Fast series, that was a huge blow to them. I mean, it definitely helped them out financially, but it really was a huge blow to lose like the main character since the beginning. They said so a lot of studios now they literally do like make voice recordings of them so they can duplicate it.
So when they can CGI some of the actors to look
voice
like
recordings
those
are
actors.
good, but it's not like the real thing.
Yeah, well, I mean,
with today's technology, it can like look how good they made Paul Walker look. That CGI, that was his brother. That was his brother. And the people from Avatar.
I can't agree with you on that. The CGI is still kind of not all the way there. Because let me put it this way: Universal, yeah, that was good CGI, but the best CGI in the industry is Industrial Light and Magic, which is a subsidiary of LucasArts. Grand Moff Tarkin and Princess Leia in Rogue One looked. I mean, it's like you could kind of let it go because they had to kind of be there, but it was not. It wasn't really. It still was kind of off-putting. I don't think we're at the point yet where they can use computer-generated imagery that looks 100% real. It still looks slightly off.
No, not that. It wasn't to completely make them computer the CGI, but if they need to, just like they did with Paul Walker, they can enhance something to make it look similar to, and they'll still have their actual voice, voiceover on it. Because I mean, think about it. I'm pretty sure Paul Walker's brother, even though they look alike, I'm pretty sure they don't sound alike at the same time. It's like so they used his voice.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it is like this. The way I look at it is essentially like this. Technology is rolling forward. There's going to be a day, probably in the next 10 or 15 years, where they're going to make a completely computer-generated film. Not animated. Like, it's going to look like it was shot on film with real actors, but it's all computer-generated. We're not there yet. But when we get there, it's going to be awesome. Well, I mean,
Well, hold on. I thought Sony did it with the PS4 demonstration. You know, with that old man's face.
no, that was Microsoft with Project Milo with the Xbox One. that project that went no fucking where. It's like,
No, Sony did it when they
Oh,
showed
you
the
mean the one
PS4
that by
demo.
that was made by David Cage, wasn't it? Right?
yeah, one of the masters of creepy ass games. It's like you think this man has a problem. He's like, I have pictures of Ellen Page. I have put her in the game. You didn't get her permission to do that. Yes, but I really like Ellen Page. I'm like, you do realize she bats for the other team, right?
Well, we're gonna move on for
She
this.
walks on the other side of the street,
Sadly,
David Cage.
Kelvin?
You don't have a chance, bro.
Okay, so who here had a game or something they want to discuss?
I'll probably start out with Colin's Colin's Microsoft Defense video, which Mr. Red Fox commented on not too long ago.
Face pound about.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Look, listen. I know that Colin is in dire straits because, I mean, think about it. The guy used to work at IGN. He was fired from there. He and Greg Miller were fired from there because they were taking kickbacks in order to shill for Sony. And then he and Greg Miller created their own little thing on YouTube, and then he was kicked off from there from doing shady shit behind the scenes.
What happened there?
I don't remember the exact details. I just know it was some shady stuff. Like he was involved with either like the unsavory parts of the anti-Gamergate movement or something like that. It was some shady stuff. Like basically, like okay, when he was fired from IGN from taking kickbacks, that kind of started. Okay, this man has no character. And then he got fired from the next thing because he was doing stuff that showed that he had no character. And so now he does this Microsoft Defense video, which, I mean, literally, it was like watching the Fox News of video. Like you can't deny Microsoft during the 8th gen, the Xbox One is an unmitigated failure. I would say in some ways more so than the Xbox 360. Okay, because they lost their install base. Right, like the Xbox One. What?
I was saying, yeah, you're right, because they basically gone from 80 million down to 40 million. Now Sony's almost back to where Sony's almost matching what the PS3 did over time, but Microsoft's not going to get there.
But not only that, they've been losing money. They've been losing exclusives. They've been losing gamers. They've been losing games. Like the Xbox One.
Sure.
Yeah, if someone came up to me and said, which consoles do you think, which console is a must-have? Like you absolutely have to have it, and you don't care about exclusives, I would say get a PS4. If it's a must-have and you care about exclusives, I would say get a Switch. I would not recommend in any way, shape, or form for someone to get an Xbox One for anything. Not even the games that are exclusive for it. Man, fuck the Kinect. but in all seriousness, it's just not like it's not been good. But that video Colin did, I mean, if Colin were a doctor in a trauma center, this is what he would say. It's like someone could come in, he's been shot 9 times and stabbed 4 times. He would be like, oh, there's no problem. He's just had alternative aeration used with alternative surgical implements by somebody who's an amateur doctor in the field. It's like, no, this dude's been shot 9 times and stabbed 2 times. No, it's not that bad. He's bleeding out. No, he's just getting rid of excess blood that he didn't need. Like, that video was just him. Yeah, he never talks about how badly like, here's the thing. I don't care about people putting things in a more a prettier light, you know. But you have to acknowledge that things aren't doing well. Like even me, okay? I'm a Wii U fan. I love that console. To me, in some ways, it's better than the Switch. But I will tell you, it underperformed for Nintendo. They didn't lose money on it. but it underperformed. It
But
didn't do what it was supposed to
it
do.
was it was a commercial failure, and that's something that every Nintendo fan
Well,
can admit.
no,
Financially, it was great.
it
It did good
was
for them,
it
but
was a
commercially,
critical failure. It was a critical failure. It wasn't a commercial. A commercial failure would be the Virtual Boy. Critical failure means that it didn't garner support with the audiences and didn't sell that well. They didn't lose money on it. Commercial failure is the Virtual Boy or the original Xbox or the Xbox 360 or the Xbox One.
shut up.
Those are all because they all lost money. But I mean, the thing is like it underperformed. It didn't do. I mean, if you compare it to the Wii U, or sorry, the Wii, the GameCube, the N64, the SNES, the NES, it didn't do nearly as well as any of those consoles. Okay, like up until that point, the lowest selling Nintendo console was the GameCube. GameCube still made a lot of money. The Wii U is what, like 12.5, 13.5 million. That's sad.
It's close to 14 million.
And
It,
here's the thing, it's a good console. I mean, like sometimes a console underperforms, and I'm like, well, I can, like the original Xbox didn't make money. It sold like Microsoft's like it's a failure because it sold a little under 20 million. But I'm like, it's your first console. You guys really didn't support it with like really hardcore games. There was a lot of weird ass American made bullshit that you guys tried to put off on gamers. And then they revamped their effort and went after the dude bro audience with the Xbox 360. And it would have done well, except for that they rushed it out in the Red Ring of Death, where it was chewing up people's discs, and how they fought people for like a year when the Red Ring of Death first started to replace the shit that they put out. And gamers gave them a pass because they went and bought. I know a guy bought 4 of those fucking 360s after 3 of them red ringed on him. Bought 4 of them. I'm like, you a dumb motherfucker.
I actually didn't buy my 360 until they had the third revision, and
Mm-hmm.
it was the power consumption. It was the efficiency revision with the Zephyr chip. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, it was way more efficient. It had a second fan in the back, so it still ran loud, but it was just a lot cooler and more energy efficient than the original models were. But it was still the fat white model.
Yeah, I mean, just for me personally, I just can't like I mean, like I've heard people say, "Well, I want to buy an American console." I'm like, the last time an American console manufacturer made games, it was with Atari. I mean, had a system that was a system leader. It was with Atari with the 2600, and we all know how that worked out. So, I mean, forgive me, I don't really fucking trust American console manufacturers anyway.
What about the Magnavox Odyssey? That was an American console.
It wasn't the industry leader. Atari was the industry leader at the time. Like, here's the thing: you have to look at who's trying to be the industry leader, who's leading the trends. Atari led the trends. Atari crashed the video game industry twice. Once in '78 and again in '82.
Well,
So within 5 years, they crashed the video game market twice.
Well, hey, check this out. Since we're talking about trends, what is up with this new trend? And it's all funny. I know you guys are gonna laugh, but Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite won't be at Evo.
I don't know. I mean, is that surprising? It's a game that no one
Finally, somebody has mental sense.
Like, I recently went back and hooked up my Dreamcast and I played Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And I was just having fun with it. It was a joy. And I looked at the roster and I'm like, this massive ass roster compared to the shit we have now on Infinite. I mean, even Marvel vs. Capcom 3 has a bigger roster than Marvel. Like, you can tell that Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was literally Capcom farmed it out to the lowest bidder, then took what was took what was left, polished up that turd a little bit, and then shipped it. And it was still underwhelming. I mean, I've never seen a Marvel vs. Capcom game that underwhelmed me like Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
But you know what though? Let me just say something real quick. And I know it probably won't last, and it probably does not mean much, and it may not even change anything. But I will say this. In the year 2017, and still somewhat right now in 2018, it just started, gamers are really starting to speak out and they're speaking out against Bull. Like in 2017, we had the whole Star Wars Battlefront, and also Destiny 2, and it's still going on. It is still ongoing even at this moment. And then gamers have let Capcom know in the biggest way, yeah, we don't give a shit about your game. We don't care. You know what? We want Guilty Gear. We want Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
I
We
won't
want
go
those
that
games.
far. I won't go that far. I think gamers are tired of being bent over and taken advantage
I
of.
mean, yeah,
You know,
that's my point because I remember in 2016, it's like gamers like being effed up the ass,
well, I mean, like I said,
and they
they're
smile
tired
while
of
it
it.
happened.
Yeah,
They smile.
they're tired of it. They're tired of giving their money. And here's the thing: it's not that we don't want. Look, I would have loved for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite to be good, but Capcom gave us a subpar product. Like, here's the thing: typically speaking, when you make a fighting game, with each new iteration, you should be polishing it up and making it better. Yet Capcom has fallen into the rut that Namco Bandai fell into with Soul Calibur and other.
Got my own rants on that.
Yeah, I mean, basically, like typically, like, okay, for years Street Fighter got more technical as time went on, and then they started making it. Then Ono took over, and it got worse. Like Street Fighter, the original Street Fighter sucked. Let's just keep it real. It was garbage. Okay. Then they did Street Fighter 2, and it's numerous iterations. But with each iteration, they made it slightly better. Right? They tweaked it, they made it better. They added a more complex combo system. Like they made it better. And then Street Fighter 3, with its iterations, they made that better. And then Street Fighter 4 comes out and it turns into shit.
Yeah, it's just, I can understand
Somewhere
that.
between 3 and 4, things went south.
Well, 3 was too
Yeah.
technical for the
It
average
turns
person.
out I found out Ono's first game that he made as a director was Capcom Fighting Evolution. Let that sink in.
Oh God! Well, that explains it. that
I
explains
think
it
I
all.
already previously mentioned that in a previous podcast.
Yeah, that explains everything.
Look here, man. All I
The
wanna
one
say-
game that does not contain Morrigan.
Yep. It's funny. It's funny though because Marvel Infinite ain't gonna be evil this year.
Dude, I'm actually still surprised Street Fighter 5 is gonna be there. To be honest,
Yeah, I'm like, why?
Probably to hype up.
I think it's
new
because
version.
it's the tradition.
Yeah, but here's the thing: Evo is supposed to have games that are competitive but are also fun. Street Fighter 5 is not fun. It's not.
Hey,
I've
what's up,
played
guys?
it. How's it going, Kenobi?
You get what's called dial a combo system. That's basically what it
Yeah,
is.
Street Fighter 5 is not a fun, even Street Fighter 4, especially if you play the super or ultra versions, feel it like it can be fun. Street Fighter 3 had aspects of it that were fun, even though it's a little too technical for the average fighting a person who likes 2D fighters.
Well, it's not too technical to me because I can wrap my head around it compared to any of the King of Fighter games.
The parry system is not as the parry system is not as complex as say, learning how to do your custom combos in like the alpha game.
No, the reason I say that 3 is considered okay, let me put it this way: Street Fighter 2, which is, I mean, I know people get mad. Street Fighter 2 is the standard for a 2D fighter. Street Fighter 2 is relatively easy to get into. It has some depth to it, but it's not like, oh my God, over my head. And then over the different iterations of Street Fighter 2, they kind of balanced that out, made it a little bit more technical as it got further into it. And then they went to 3, and then they went to Alpha, which Alpha is just, oh my God, ridiculous. And then they went to 3, which is kind of like it's not quite as technical as Alpha, but still more technical than 2. But I mean, overall, still not that bad. It's just for the average Joe Blow person, like the modicum of a Street Fighter game is: can someone who only plays Street Fighter 2 pick up the controller and do at least 2 or 3 combos? If they can, it's playable. If they can't, that shit's too. Not for average Joe Blow casual person.
Well, let me ask you
You could
guys
argue
this.
that Street Fighter 4
What
is
do you think-
also a bit more technical because of the ultra combos.
But what do
I
you
would
think is
say-
going to be the we just think it's gonna be the result of this. Like I think it's like this is the first time that maybe like I mean outside of Street Fighter, it is like the first time that like a versus game from Capcom didn't make it into Evo.
I think so. I think Tatsunoko versus Capcom made it once, I think, or twice.
Wait,
I'm saying,
Dragon Ball
but
Fighter
even
Z is that an
Capcom,
Evo?
since versus games have existed for the most part, Capcom has had one of their versus
Something.
games.
Yeah.
Oh,
and-
yeah, I don't think Cross Tekken made it. I'm not sure. I'd look it up.
Like here's the thing. Here's the thing people need to understand. Evo is irrelevant. I know people are like, oh, what do you mean? Evo's fucking irrelevant because here's the thing. These companies are businesses. They want to make money. If only the most hardcore of hardcore people buy your game, it's not going to make a lot of money. Okay? I hate to break that to you, these people who are like, well, this game was at Evo. It doesn't fucking matter. What are casuals playing?
They're playing Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
Are busy playing
That's
Arms, Smash Brothers.
Yeah, they're playing
Dragon
Smash
Ball
Brothers.
Fighter Z.
They're playing, well, not even that, because even that's more hardcore than, like, here's the thing, okay? It's kind of like one of those things. It's really hard because, like, if you make a game too hardcore for the core audience, you're going to
repel the...
And the casuals are where the money's at.
I was going to say, you repel the casuals, and if you repel the hardcore players, you're going to keep casuals.
Like, think of it like this, okay? I make my own bacon in the winter. Like I go and buy a pork belly and I make my own bacon. That's hardcore as fuck. The average consumer's not gonna want to do that shit. They just want to go to the store and buy a pound of strip bacon, either thick cut or thin cut, or turkey bacon, whatever, and call it a day. But I'm the hardcore. But if companies if businesses that sell pork belly are thinking about, well, man, we're going to make a lot of money off of people who make their own bacon. Most people don't do it. So if you're only aiming at me, you're going to go out of business, which is why the idea of people thinking that Evo is relevant when the only people who give a shit about Evo are hardcore people
The ones looking
is
to prove,
laughable.
the ones looking to prove themselves, and it's like
Yeah.
you guys amount to basically 1% of the sales.
Not even
Going
1%.
to Evo? No,
0.1% of the sales. It's like, man, this game's at Evo. Who fucking cares?
And on top of that, even let's say that Evo was somewhat important. It's only important for fighting games, which is a very small genre at this point. Shooters and open world games have taken over.
Yeah.
So you guys are thinking that Evo matters. You are promoting just one genre out of many. No Street Fighter game has yet to this day to sell 80 million copies or
Nope.
40 million copies.
The
Hell,
closest we've gotten is Street Fighter 2, and that was because of numerous iterations, and it was the most casual of all of them. So I don't know why people are always like, you need to make this game more hardcore. You need to make these games more hardcore.
And you know what? I think that's
it's like one of the. It's like one of the most coin-operated machines too. Go ahead.
Like I was gonna say, and I think you're right, Red Fox. And I'm pretty sure you can agree, right? That okay, think about Street Fighter V. Capcom's whole reason for dropping that game early and incomplete was to make it for Evo. Okay,
Yeah,
you appeal to Evo fans, but look at your sales. You
I
only
don't
sold to Evo fans.
And what's crazy is like they kept making iteration Street Fighter 4. I'm like, y'all couldn't have Ultra Street Fighter 4 one more year.
They should have with Street Fighter 5. They should have released it this year because of
exactly. It would have been a more complete game. But here's the thing: Capcom is so cash strapped and so afraid of taking risks right now that they basically entered into a devil's bargain with Sony. And remember, there was a time period last year where there was nothing coming out for the PS4, and Sony's like, we need some big game. And they rushed out fucking Street Fighter 5. And that game was trash. It still is kind of trash. Like people are like, hey man, this game, the fighting system's good. Yeah, but they fucked up all the core characters. Their combos are fucked up. Their various special abilities and skill sets are fucked up. And now we added Sagat. We're adding Blanca. We added this character. It doesn't fucking matter. You fucked up the core.
You know the funny thing is,
Ken's hair.
That game came out. That game came out in 2016, and I think it just sold over like 1.5 million units at the end of like 2018. They were expecting to sell a million within like the first, like I think like 2 million units within the first couple of months.
So it basically boils down to basically in terms of Capcom like multiplats and stuff. The only one that's really had any success is Monster Hunter World.
But look what they're doing with that. They're trying. They've been milking their money on the 3DS, on Nintendo's platform, and now they're saying, well, okay, if we can sell this many on 3DS, okay, PS4 has an equal amount of fan base, install base. Let's make a game for that, and it has to be graphically intensive and stuff like that. Monster Hunter Worlds is not going to sell nearly as well as it sells on the 3DS. It's not,
but it's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty. Like, here's the thing. It's probably going to do okay. I think it's probably going to sell maybe, let's see, between 3, maybe 5 million, maybe over time, maybe 6, 7. That's okay. But is that compared to the 14, 15, 16, the 20, 30 million it was selling on 3DS and DS? Fuck no.
No way.
On top of that, they paid more money for this PS4 and PC version. So it's like, well, think about this. It costs you more money to make this version for these 3 consoles, these 3 platforms, 3 or 4 million. You probably still are going negative at that point.
Well, I mean, you also have to remember Sony. They probably signed a deal with Sony, which is why it's not coming to the Switch, and it's coming to PC later. They probably signed some deal. They're like, we're gonna make a next-gen Monster Hunter. That's cool.
I thought it also came to the Xbox One.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, man.
It did. What was the point of putting that resource?
I mean, literally, like Capcom would have done better going to the closet with some lotion and a hand towel and just
care of themselves.
My point is that would have been less of a waste of time than putting that game on the Xbox One. Okay.
The PlayStation 4, if it was just a PlayStation 4 exclusive, it would have made more sense. But
yeah,
I don't know if I can see that game. I guess they could do it running on the Switch.
But the audience of the PS4 doesn't care about Monster Hunter Worlds.
Yeah, but here's
the game
thing.
Actually sold a lot, though.
Yeah, right now it's selling well for the audience. Like I said, it's probably going to reach 3, maybe at the most 5 million, and then it'll kind of taper off a little bit. I mean, listen, okay, look, I'm not going to get mad at Capcom for wanting to expand the audience for Monster Hunter and to return it to a home console and all that jazz and shit like that. I'm not angry about that. That doesn't bother me.
What they did with the Wii U already, they made Monster Hunter, 3.
Yeah, but that was a port. Yeah, that was a port of the one that was on the 3DS, just with better graphics and the second analog stick. Like, I mean, I'm not getting mad at Capcom for expanding the audience.
Speaking of Monster Hunter World, there's some journalists comparing it to Dark Souls.
Oh God!
Why do we have to compare every game that's somewhat hard to Dark Souls? I don't understand that.
Yeah, why don't we compare it to Contra? But I mean, really, I'm gonna keep it real. If you want to compare Monster Hunter to anything, Phantasy Star Online is closest. Because like Phantasy Star, we play the same areas over and over again, hoping for rare enemies to appear, so that you'll get a rare drop, so that you can craft something that'll make you more powerful, so that you can go back and fight even stronger enemies over and over and over.
Wasn't Monster Hunter Dark Souls before Dark Souls was Dark Souls?
Oh yeah.
No. Contra. What is this? Dark Souls before Dark Souls. Dark Souls.
No, I say that because
I know you say that jokingly.
Yeah, I say that because they're comparing Monster Hunter to Dark Souls. So I'm just kind of like, wait.
Yeah, they compare everything to Dark Souls, but really, it's kind of like how people say, this is going to be the Citizen Kane of this. It's like, no, don't. That's a high bar. Don't. There's just everything.
You're just asking for somebody to say this is BS.
Well, Dark Souls is not the Citizen Kane of video games.
And Dark Souls isn't really like, okay, is Dark Souls hard because it's genuinely hard, or because it has shitty controls and enemies that ambush you? I mean,
that's the most.
Because really, like, I've played Dark Souls. It's not hard because it's genuinely hard. It's hard because you have enemies that jump out from blind corners. You have the stamina system, so basically, like, you can't, like, you actually have to, stamina is a resource you have to manage. I mean, it's not hard because it's genuinely hard.
There's also the input lag on your attacks.
Custom.
To me, it's just not like okay. I remember playing Phantasy Star Online 1 and 2, episodes 1 and 2 plus on the GameCube back in the day, and I remember playing it on the ultra hard difficulty, which is the hardest difficulty they had at the time. And I remember getting to the final boss, and this mofo could one shot you with these spells that could cast Megiddo on you, which is like the ultimate light spell in the game, which just, like, for you, it would basically wipe your ass out one shot. So you had to dodge it, okay? And I was like, this is genuinely difficult, because at that level of difficulty, enemies that before you could kind of dodge or take their hit, they would take huge amounts of health off, even if you maxed out your levels and had maxed out stats and had some of the best stuff. They still were really tough because the enemies hit harder and all that stuff. But it always felt fair, Dark Souls is not a fair game, and I know it's not supposed to be, but it's not. Like, difficulty should be because the enemies are smarter or they hit harder, not because, like, the game is cheap, which is the problem with Dark Souls.
So it's just a lot of gotcha moments in Dark Souls.
Yeah. It's like, okay, you enter this room, this dude was hiding behind the door, and your animation was in such a way they get a jump on you while you're going through the door. Oh, this is so hard. No, it's just fucking cheap. That's bad game. That's not hard.
That's bad game programming.
But you know what? But speaking of bad game programming, I made a poster this week because I saw this in my news feed. But some game I hadn't even heard of, but I guess fans have been waiting for it. Kingdom Come. Has a
20 gig
day one patch.
I didn't even.
Yeah, what makes sense?
I never heard of this game before till now. Honestly,
never heard of this game.
Hold on. You said 20 game patch.
I just seen another article today that they say the game is beautiful but boring.
It's
9 out of 10, Doc. 9 out of 10.
Here's as someone who actually did give a little money to the Kickstarter and did play the beta for it. The game is, here's the thing. Modern gamers are not going to be into a game like this. The reason why
simulator.
Yeah, well, it's not a simulator so much. They do try to make it a little bit fun in that, it's not quite, it's set in a fictional world, but there's no magic. There's no, it's a fictional world set in kind of like a interpretation of, like, the Middle Ages.
It sounds boring already.
Well, I mean, the thing is like, you're not the chosen one. You're not out to save the world. You're a son of a blacksmith. Your family's been murdered, and now you're not the chosen one. Now, some people like games like that. They like games where they can just play another life and not be this all-powerful, godlike being. The thing is like, this isn't a game for everyone. This is not a game for, like, you're not. It's kind of like I remember how Elder Scrolls Online, like, everyone was like, man, this game's gonna be awesome. I'm like, it's stupid and it makes no sense. And they were like, well, what do you mean? Because the whole point about an Elder Scrolls game is that you're this hero who's supposed to save the world or to help save the world. How the fuck are you gonna play an MMO where everyone's the chosen one? That makes no sense. Well, this is a game where you're not the chosen one. You're just a guy trying to make it from day to day in the Middle Ages, where everything can kill you. You can die from dysentery. You can die from bad food. You can die from the bubonic plague. You can get a wound.
There's a million ways to fall.
Yeah, you can get a nick from a dagger. It can, and not treat it properly, and it can get infected, turn gangrenous, and you can die. And so, I mean, it's a rough game. It's hard. It's like, well, shit, that the Middle Ages sucked. It did. Thank God we live in the modern age.
The thing about Sims is they're usually a very slim crowd. Like, if you're gonna create like a sim, like a fictional sim game, like, where it's super deep. Like car sim was for a very niche audience, and this is going to be for a very niche audience as well, because most people aren't into that sort of stuff.
I mean, this game, the problem with this game and the reason why it had that whole 20 gig patch is because this game is friggin' this game is made in CryEngine, and we all know CryEngine is...
It makes people cry. Tears of pain.
Well, I mean, pun aside, CryEngine is not a good engine for certain types of things. I think they got a deal using this engine because CryEngine was having those financial issues a while ago, and they were probably farming it out for cheaper than usual. But CryEngine is not, like, everyone keeps on saying, well, it's not the engine, it's how you use it. No, because I'm pretty sure you can't take a two-stroke gas engine from a lawnmower and put it into a 4-car sedan and expect the same performance. So different engines are good for different things. Like, different engines have signature things they're good at. Like, Epic's Unreal engine is Unreal is kind of like a catch-all engine. You can do, it can do 2D games, it can do 3D games, it can do physics. Now, you have to tweak it in order to get, like, ultra good performance in each of those, and other things suffer, but overall it's relatively well balanced.
And we know how third parties are when it comes to maintenance issues.
Yeah, they're like, oh man, it uses Unreal, so who fucking cares? Is it gonna do my taxes? No, then shut up. Is it gonna walk my dog?
Oh, you know what I read? Oh, go ahead.
I said one wishes because with how optimization is with most of these people, it makes me facepalm.
Yeah.
And I do want to bring up one thing. I think I may have told you guys about this a couple weeks ago. Sorry it took so long.
Try us.
I seen a comment on Twitter, right? From a particular individual that we're all familiar with.
I can't take this game.
Is it he who must not be named?
I can't.
No, I'm gonna name him. I have no issue with doing that. But this person said, you know how when we found out the Switch had sold 10 million units back in like October, whatever, you had gamers come out the woodworks talking about, yeah, thank you, because of gamers like me, what the reason Switch is selling right now? What the reason Nintendo's back on track?
Well, that guy. I know who you're talking to.
Well, he kind of took the same approach. This guy said, I complained that Nintendo's home console business was just a paywall for the consumer, and that I'd rather them go third party. With the Switch, they pretty much did just that, so I'm really happy with it. And my first question was, how has this Nintendo gone third party with the Switch? And I said, are there any games on the PS4, Xbox One, or PC?
I'm sorry, my head broke.
And this person was Base Video.
Oh God, yeah, Base.
Yeah.
And he literally was trying to justify the fact that Nintendo did exactly what he thought they should do. He says, "Well, to me, the Switch is not a console; it's a handheld." I say, "Dude, you can." I say, "You can feel how you want to feel," but even Nintendo said themselves on multiple occasions in press conferences, the Switch is a home console you can take on the go.
Yeah, it's a portable home console.
That's what broke my head.
And then
Seriously.
And then his response was, "They can call a home console all you want, but it's still just a handheld." I say, you could think that, but they're promoting this thing as a home console. You look at all the commercials, they promoted being at home first, but you can take it with you. They never say, "Oh, this is a handheld you can attach to your TV." They never say that. They never say that.
And to be fair, like okay, there are things that were sacrificed so that the Switch could be portable. And if you play any of the more demanding games for the Switch, you can tell things were sacrificed to make the Switch more portable. So, I mean, it is what it is.
This reminds me when Game Freak mentioned that Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon were a culmination of the previous Pokemon games they worked on.
Yeah, they lied.
The journalists lied and said they were the final Pokemon games for the 3DS, when even though that's not what illumination means.
Game Freak lied because Ultra Sun and no, they said Sun and Moon, not Ultra Sun. Sun and Moon are steps backwards compared to X and Y. Let's just get that out the way. Like they're not.
Thank you.
So maybe the technical culmination in terms of like how pretty they look, but in terms of gameplay mechanics and gameplay systems, Jesus Christ, no. But I mean, like, here's the thing. I read that article, Doc, and I gotta say, Base Video's out of his damn mind. Maybe he's freebasing. Double pun there. But seriously though.
This guy makes you say, you have no peeping head.
No,
yeah, Base Video rubs me the wrong way for years now.
I think he says controversial things in order to rile up his viewership, his viewer base, because they like drama. That's what the shit is. It's drama horrors. They like drama.
You just described YouTube in 2010.
That's YouTube now. Is a whole bunch of fucking drama.
Yeah.
Okay. Especially with all the YouTube apocalypse going on.
Okay,
so all the gravy train was bound
to it shows what some people are able to do when things are going.
Well,
I'm gonna read some of the stuff he said in this little back and forth I had with him. So I said, so how's Nintendo gone third party?
Hopefully not deleted.
What IPs land on the PS4, Xbox One? I'm like, Breath of the Wild requires a Nintendo console. ARM, same thing. Super Mario Odyssey, Switch only. I said, even Fire Emblem Warriors only on the Switch, so please explain. Switch to me is a handheld. I had no problem with Nintendo's handheld market. I like a good portable machine, and the Switch is the best one I've ever owned, and a huge step up from the 3DS. To me, Nintendo got out of the home console game. And I said, you're completely avoiding the question. This is their new home console.
The question in 3DS.
And then once I come back on that, he comes back and says they haven't gone third party. Your first statement was they did go third party.
Yeah, that's literally he's contradicting himself.
And then he said they stopped making two devices. I said, dude, they still are making a 3DS. In fact, they just released a 2DS.
There's a game that came out just a couple days ago.
Yeah, and I mean, like, here's the thing: the 3DS is still getting AAA games. It's getting, not AAA. It's still getting first-party games. They're coming out with the Kirby game. The Kirby game already came out. It got the re-release.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it got the re-release of.
Hold on, it gets worse.
Historia Chronicles.
So he said they haven't gone third party. They just stopped making two devices, home and handheld, and now they only make one device, a handheld. Nintendo can call it a car for all I care. This tablet's a handheld with a TV dock and a transformer controller. He said they ended up with the same result for me. They eliminated a device I had to buy to play all their games to save me a few $100. If you still want some of those 3DS games, you still got to spend all that money. They're not porting over every Wii U game.
And they're not putting 3DS games on the Switch. So
he could joke technically that goes Hyrule Warriors
if Nintendo, I mean first party, they're not putting first party Nintendo games on the Switch. Now if Nintendo in the next 2 or 3 years cuts off the Switch and cuts off the 3DS and starts putting games that look like this shit should just be on the 3DS on the Switch, I'll agree. But I don't think Nintendo's going to do that because
see, to me the market is split because 3DS games require a much cheaper budget than a Switch game. Even a low end Switch game is still going to cost a lot more than a 3DS game.
Well, I don't even mean that. I mean, it's like if you're a business, it's better to have multiple revenue streams than just one. Like, it doesn't make sense for Nintendo to say, well, fuck the 3DS, we're going to focus all in on the Switch. Because don't forget, they made a lot of money this fiscal year. A lot of that was because of the 3DS. Like, half of the revenue generated was the 3DS. So why would you cut off a 70 million plus install base?
They sold 10 million 3DSs, and I think they sold 15 million Switches. So that's a huge chunk of change.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, the install base
And
of the
that's the
3DS is
hardware
70
alone.
million.
Yep.
It's 70 million. Why would you cut off the 70 million install base to support the 15 million? I mean, if Nintendo has the resources, you want to support. That's like saying, yeah, I got 2 kids. Yeah, my one kid, he's got straight A's. He's got straight A's. Then this other kid, yeah, he's coming up. He's got B's and C's, and he's got a lot of potential. Well, fuck my straight A kid. I'm just gonna go all in on this B and C kid. I mean, you support both of them. I mean, you think? I don't understand that.
That's
That makes
just
no sense.
It plus no matter what Pokemon game comes out on the Switch, the Pokemon fans inherently live on a 3DS.
Yeah, that's where the audience was built.
Yeah. The handheld audience built the Pokemon series. Audience is still gonna go for it, even if it goes to the Switch. And if anything, it's likely going to be something like the Stadium games, if anything else.
Yeah, and here's the thing. That's good because let's keep it real. I personally wouldn't want a Pokemon game on the Switch that was just a prettier version of what we had on the 3DS or the DS. Like that would not interest me.
And I had an argument with Falcon Launch regarding this topic as well. But I was on the side how the Pokemon Switch game will not be like. Will not be Generation 8, nor will it be like the handheld games.
I mean, legitimately, looking back at all, except for the NES generation where a lot of the NES games were ported over to the Game Boy, would you want, like, you bought an SNES, would you fucking want Game Boy games on your SNES? Really?
No.
No.
I mean, like, GameCube, yeah, I want to play Game Boy Advance games on my GameCube. I mean, aside from the player, like I don't want ports of Game Boy Advance games on a fucking GameCube. I don't want ports of DS games on N64.
I was pleading for a 3DS. You actually go to the Wii U for stuff like this, or at least to play 3DS Wii U games. But
technically, the fans did want a Game Boy game on their Wii U when we got that Pokemon Red and Blue.
Yeah, but
I know somebody in this podcast that bought it. I'm not gonna say their names though.
Okay. But in all seriousness though, really, like no one wants to play that. No one wants all that weird shit in their game. Like, here's what people want. People just want to fucking play their games. No bullshit. Like, and here's the thing. As far as base video is concerned, look, if you think that Nintendo is gonna drop the 3DS and start putting 3DS games on the Switch, you're out your damn mind. If you think Nintendo is not gonna make a dedicated handheld that's at a lower price point than the Switch, you're out of your damn mind. And the only reason why is because, like, it makes sense.
To me, it makes sense because the Switch, even though it is technically considered a handheld, at the same time, the Switch to most people, especially adults, is very delicate. That's not something you really want to hand to a kid.
Yeah.
But you'll hand the kid a 3DS. You'll hand the kid a 2DS, and even then, you're somewhat reluctant. You're like, well, are you old enough to handle this? Because this was $200. I mean, but even still, it's one of those things. It's like, look, I can see a parent wanting to have a Switch and the kids can play it, but it's like, oh, here's your little gaming handheld.
Yeah, plus the 3DS is cheap. The 3DS is cheap. You can get a refurb 3DS for like under $100 at this point if you know where to go.
And dude, even a brand new 2DS is what, like $130?
Yeah, so I mean, like here's the thing. For Nintendo, it makes sense to have different products at different price points, so that you can't, like, you don't want to be like Microsoft with that $500 piece of shit Xbox One when it first came out. Like, like, hey, not only is this console a piece of shit, you got to pay more for it. Like, you want to have different products at different price points. It's like, it's the reason why every single business has lower priced stuff, so that people who don't have a huge amount of money don't feel
What
like
the
they're getting the
hell?
shaft. Someone's snoring.
Kenoshi,
Kenoshi.
it's only 9 o'clock my time, man.
I mean, I understand you might be tired, but damn, bro. But seriously though, I mean, you're talking to someone who like got home at like 3 o'clock last night, got about 3 hours of sleep, then went and saw the same movie again tonight, drove, and I'm awake shit. But
What movie did you go see?
Black
It was
Panther,
Black Panther.
motherfucker.
Come on. What kind of question is that,
I had to say hail to the king.
man?
I had to
I
say
don't
hail
know.
to the
There
king.
might have been another movie. I don't really follow movie releases that much.
Yeah, damn,
waiting.
man.
I'm waiting till
I can't even.
I'm waiting till the crowd dies down.
Of all
This is
the
what happens
movies
when
that you
chaos
should
happens,
mark
ladies and
down on
gentlemen.
your calendar, it's Black Panther. Of all the movies, Black Panther and Get Out.
I'm waiting till the crowd dies down. So
Really?
go
Because
sleep.
when I saw it today, like aside from the kids, with their Black Panther action figures, I almost said dolls, but you're a boy, a boy, even though it's technically still a doll. They never want to admit that shit's a doll. It's an action figure. It's an action figure, son.
Yeah. Well, I usually do matinee, so I have to see how it is.
My Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Technodrome isn't a dollhouse; it's an action playset. Yeah, these GI Joes aren't dolls; they're action figures. Like, what's the difference between your GI Joe Jeep and my sister's Malibu Barbie Corvette?
This topic was touched upon on one of the episodes of Billy and Mandy.
It's an action vehicle. That's a doll car. It's the same shit. It's the same. They just changed the name. It's the same shit.
Plus, it has guns on it.
The boy cars are much smaller than the girl cars.
No, the G.I. Joe was always pretty good about having some pretty nice. All their shit had little missiles that you lose in about a week. It's like I lost the missiles.
Sad.
Barbie shit was huge because Barbie was like 9 inches tall, like 12. Like Barbie was huge. She was unnecessarily huge.
How the hell we get on Barbie?
That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, Ken wanted to get on Barbie, but he doesn't have the equipment for it. But that's neither here nor there.
Let's move on to something video game related.
So anyone here play Malibu Barbie Funhouse? It's a game.
I've only played Detective Barbie.
I heard Capcom had some layoffs, so I don't know if that means for Dead Rising, but they had some layoffs.
Yeah, they shuttered because they had a game that got canceled and they shuttered them. I mean, a lot of people, the people who Hangar 13 who did the Mafia 3 game, which is actually pretty good. Like I have that game. I have the deluxe version with all the little season passes and expansion stuff. It's actually pretty good, but they had a prototype for a game that didn't get off the ground, and so they just fired a lot of people. And that game made money, which is weird. It's like you can do a good job and you still don't get the benefit of the doubt to develop your next IP.
I think I had like the Dead Rising Apocalypse Edition for the Xbox One, which has like all the DLC. So yeah. But it just goes to show you, man, that
they put that game on the Xbox One. I mean, come on, they put that thing out there to die.
To me, the lesson here is this, man. All you developers out there are trying to scramble like you did in the 7th gen. You want to put your game on the most popular console that has the biggest install base, and you're trying to make games to appeal, for a fan base that doesn't really care specifically for your game. The 7th gen,
You're just pandering.
The 7th gen was about first-person shooters. The 8th gen is mostly about open world. That's the truth. There may still be shooters in there. There may still be shooters in the HN, but it was mostly shooters in open world games.
I gotta disagree. I gotta disagree.
So ninth gen will be about open world first person shooters.
I gotta disagree because
No.
most
The
of the
19 is about
open
Mario Odyssey, selling almost over 9 million units.
I haven't.
I gotta disagree. Here's the thing. It's not that the Dude Bros aren't still around. It's just most of the games that used to be Dude Bro Bastion suck. Like the redo of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is ass compared to the original. Yes, it's prettier, but it sucks. And I mean Halo 5 sucked.
Yeah, no one talks about that game.
Yeah, like I mean, here's the thing: the quality of the games, the quality of these games aren't good. Like Destiny is not a good game. The first Destiny wasn't good. Destiny 2 isn't good. Like the people who used to know how to make good first person shooters, they can't do it anymore. The only company that I know that still makes fun, interesting first person shooters that kind of hold up a little bit is I want to say id Software.
Where are they?
They did id Software did Doom, and I think they're doing the Quake game, Wolfenstein. But those games have almost more of an RPG like bent to them now, where like you get experience, you level up shit, you find. I mean, there's first person shooters, but they add a little something. But I mean, I know indie companies that do good first-person shooters, but none of the main tier. Like, what was the last Bungie game that people gave a shit about?
Halo 3.
Yeah.
Halo.
I mean,
and that was
it's kind of sad that when you look at the current landscape, because Wolfenstein 2 is only a single-player game, and like no one really went out and bought it. Now, if it had online multiplayer,
Wolfenstein 2 sold well. I mean, it wasn't like here's the thing. Wolfenstein has never been a huge Wolfenstein has more relevance as it was like one of the first 3D first person shooters. Like it's not like, oh my god, this is like an ultra popular franchise. I mean, like here's the thing. If Bethesda thought Wolfenstein 2 was gonna sell Call of Duty numbers, they are out of their damn minds. No, Wolfenstein never had those.
But if it had online multiplayer, they would have did much better.
But you know what?
Not really.
Red Fox. Here's the problem, though. No. Almost every major publisher and or developer since the release of Modern Warfare back in the 7th gen
they all jumped on the first person chain.
No, not only that, but they all thought that our key IPs should sell 10 to 15 million, just like that game did, and they flopped. Like I remember when Square Enix released that, Tomb Raider game, the Tomb Raider reboot. They actually thought they want that game to sell like 15 million.
Yeah, and the only thing I have to say about that is I don't know what the people at Capcom were smoking, or not Capcom, Square Enix were smoking, but that's some good shit.
Like the game still so well. The game still so well, but they said that it was a financial flop for them because their expectations were
because they put so much money into it. They put so much money into that game, and they just knew. They were like, man, the Xbox One crowd's gonna buy the shit out of this game. No, 360, no, because it was the first one was on the 360 and the One and PC, and it just on all three consoles. Because here's the thing. The original Tomb Raider was on the 3DO, and then the Saturn, and then the PlayStation. The shit, but the leading platform for the original Tomb Raider was PlayStation. That franchise was built on the PlayStation. So why the fuck would you take a franchise that was built on the PlayStation audience and put it on the Xbox? I don't get that. That's weird.
Hold on. You know what?
That's why I told you about the whole Guilty Gear thing. Go ahead.
No. Well, see, check this out. That's actually a very good question. We should ask a few more third parties that. So Capcom, why would you take a franchise that was built on Nintendo consoles and put it on opposing consoles, such as Mega Man, such as Monster Hunter?
Yeah, but Mega Man's always kind of been on other shit. Like it was, you're right. It was built on the Nintendo, but there were Mega Man games on the Sega. There were Mega Man games on PC. There were Mega Man games on multiple handhelds aside from the Nintendo ones. Like Mega Man's always kind of been like primarily Nintendo, but on other shit. So I can understand Capcom saying, okay, we're gonna do a Mega Man X 1 and 2 collection for PS4, Xbox One,
I remember
PC.
back in the '90s when like 6 Mega Man games came out a day. It was just like they were pumping out Mega Man.
Here's another problem with Capcom. Now we all know Capcom, the Street Fighter franchise, has been basically on every platform available. Like even back in the day, it was Super Nintendo and Genesis.
Yep.
It's like, okay, now Capcom, out of the original people, your first game was on a Nintendo console. Even your popular Street Fighter 2 franchise is still on a Nintendo console, but also Sega. Let me ask you a question though. Out of all the companies you started out with, which one is still around? Nintendo.
Yeah, the TurboGrafx 16 is gone. Sega doesn't make consoles anymore.
Nintendo is gone as well.
So I'm not against them making money on other consoles, but to me, you should always do business with the one that has a proven track record and is still around.
You would think, but I mean, this is Capcom, dude. They all they do is fuck up. That should be Capcom's middle name. Cap fuck up com. That's their name. I'm Cap fuck up com. That's what I do.
Well, we'll go ahead and end it here. I'm not gonna drag the podcast out, and we'll just pick up on the aftercast.
They should change that N that they have at the end of their name to an N. Capcom.
Oh, shut up.
I got other topics to discuss about here.
I don't know. Am I the only one who's actually looking? Well, you can save them and you can do them on the BS Busters Sunday.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead and give your sign-outs, guys.
Well, this is Piggy Dawn. Be sure to visit Video Game Facts, where we talk about facts and opinions on the gamosphere. Currently, I just recently posted one of my older entries of PC nostalgia.
Is that political correctness or computer? Personal
game.
computer. Okay.
Personal computer.
All right.
Right.
I just discussed about PC games that I played in my childhood. That's all about it.
All right.
And go ahead, Sprite.
All right, Sprite Remix here. I don't know who's picking up Bayonetta 1 and 2, but it won't be this guy. I'm sticking with my word because I got 1 and 2 physically on Wii U, aka the console. Everybody hated back in the day.
You're like Lando Calrissian from Robot Chicken. Who's got 2 thumbs and isn't getting Bayonetta 1 and 2 for the Switch? Who betrayed his friend to the Empire for some money? This guy. Sorry.
You and your animation.
And don't forget, tomorrow is Splatfest, Team Money versus Team Love.
I'm on Team Love.
Yep.
Team
Hey, yeah,
It's like
to all, yeah, love wins. That's what they say.
let me put it this way, like
love after love.
Like Janet Jackson says, no romance with no finance.
In the words of someone that I heard on Comic View about 15, 20 years ago, he said, they say money can't buy love. He said it's true, but it'll get you so damn close you can't tell the difference.
Love. Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more.
Okay, Hathaway.
All right, go ahead, Jewel.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jewel signing out, and hopefully we'll have more fun for you next time we meet.
Kadoshi? DP
It's
bastard.
Kenoshi Abominita, here to say pick up Radiant, Historia, Perfect Chronology, the Chrono Trigger game that we never got, in the game that nobody played.
And Red Fox.
This is Mr. Red Fox here. I have a couple of podcasts this weekend. One tomorrow at 7 to 8. The Sci-Fi Power we will be doing a spoiler-free review of Black Panther and a spoiler-filled review of Gojira Monster Planet because I got to talk about that fucking movie. And Sunday we'll be doing a BS Busters talking about all the stuff like EA may be losing the publishing rights to Star Wars. Thank God if that comes true. So look forward to that. Same time, 7, although the one on Sunday goes from 7 to 8:30, whereas the one on Sunday is only an hour, 7 to 8. So, yeah.
All right, and I'm your humble host, Dr. Feelgood. Thank you for tuning in to the Game is a Large number 86. And before I go, I just want to say a couple of things. Base video, you're stupid, bro. That's all I gotta say. Like, you're a dumbass.
He's drinking that
respect
orange
you.
juice, son.
I respect you.
Hey, that's my line.
I mean,
That's how you're referring to base video.
yeah, it's like no. I mean, I respect you, but base video, you're a dumbass. And and we didn't talk about this. I may do it next week, but the whole, who's developing Metroid Prime 4? Let me just say this: who gives a shit? At the end of the day, we know it's being made. I'm not gonna say I don't care who makes it, but why does it matter who discovered it?
As long as the game is good, shit.
I seen that whole spat between Dr. Trey and Rob, a Ruler to Review, and I was just disappointed. Rob, I'm like, dude, I watch your videos and you going out of your way to disprove something. Where was all this effort back on the Wii U?
God, you don't trust rumors, especially ones involving Nintendo, because they always end up being false.
But my thing is, why does it matter who gets it right?
Yeah, because people like
Nintendo told us first last year Metroid Prime 4 at E3 was being developed. That's all that matters.
Yeah, and frankly speaking, I don't care who's making it as long as they have the same guy doing the voice from doing the music.
I won't.
No, I mean the same dude doing the music from the trilogy.
No, I'm saying I won't say I don't care who's making it. If EA was making it, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm pretty sure Nintendo would rather chop off their left nut than have EA anywhere near their IPs.
Well, anyway, we'll catch you guys later. And as I always say, keep it gaming.
Or else.
Apple